Okay, well, the next book we're going to be talking about is another debut issue from Image, The Bulletproof Coffin Disinterred #1. And this is a follow-up series to The Bulletproof Coffin, which itself ran 6 issues a while back. The Bulletproof Coffin comics are written by David Hine, with art by the artist known as Shaky Kane. Let's see. This series, The Bulletproof Coffin Disinterred, is, I think, going to be a series of basically standalone issues, each focusing on a particular superhero character in the world of the Bulletproof Coffin. So all of these characters were introduced in the first series, and now this series, I guess, is going to be taking a closer look at them. So this first issue is essentially the origin story of a character called the Shield of Justice. Bulletproof Coffin is a really difficult kind of concept and comic book to describe. It's a very kind of alternative, kind of skewed take on superheroes. There's a lot of levels of reality that are being played with in these comics, so we're not sure if some things are being imagined, if some things are actually true. Shaky Kane and David Hine themselves were characters in the first series, so there's a lot of like metafictional play going on in these comics. But the basic plot of this one is there is a police detective, a male police detective and his beautiful younger partner, who are investigating a grisly series of murders wherein victims are beheaded in these kind of grotesque crimes. And these crimes are perpetrated by different people, but there's something, obviously some larger plot behind this. So the police detective is investigating this along with his young partner. He also is prone to what we assume are daydreams about him and his young partner as superheroes in these like weirdly eroticized kind of fantasies. So that's going on. And then at the end, as he gets closer to figuring out what's going on behind these murders, you start to wonder if the police officer is actually figuring out what's really going on, or if he's starting to lose his grip on reality and concocting this kind of conspiracy in his own mind. And at the end, you don't really know the answer to that. So it's a very unconventional series. It's a very unconventional origin story, but it's one that I really enjoyed. I really liked the Bulletproof Coffin, the first series. Shaky Kane is a British artist who became somewhat well known, kind of a cult favorite artist for his work on 2000 AD and then the Judge Dredd magazine. So he kind of has a small cult following. He draws somewhat in the style of Jack Kirby, and obviously a series like this is really influenced by the early Marvel comics. But he's not just a Kirby clone. Like he adopts a lot of the tropes that Kirby used, but he also has kind of a psychedelic kind of look to his art, and he's really doing his own thing. So yeah, it's a bizarre book. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to kind of sink your teeth into, and a lot of layers of reality and meaning to kind of suss out. But I really like the kind of unhinged, paranoid, bizarre characters that they are using in these books. So I enjoyed the first Bulletproof Coffin series, and I was really excited that they were going to do another one. And I like this first issue. It's a weird book, but I think a good one.
Okay. I wasn't a huge fan of the first miniseries. I just read one issue, and I pretty much realized that it wasn't for me, so I didn't read anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought I'd give it another shot with this new series, and I really, really like this first issue. I didn't realize that it was going to be a series of kind of one-shots introducing these characters. I think that's going to be the
approach, yeah.
Yeah. But at least this story was really solid, and it's much more straightforward than the original miniseries.
Yeah, it was. I mean, there's a lot going on, but on one level, yeah, I did enjoy that about it. On one level, it was just a solidly constructed crime story. Mm-hmm. With these kind of grisly murders and him piecing things together and making patterns, and it's it's just a good crime book. It works more on a straightforward level, more so than the first.
Yeah, the first story, it's it's kind of what is going. It's kind of a head scratcher, a little bit.
And this has elements of that.
Yeah,
and the series may go more that way as it goes along. Mm-hmm. But I think you more so than the first series, you can pick this one up.
Yeah.
And read it. And you get a full story, and don't necessarily have to.
Yeah. There's more layers to this than most comics out there, especially superhero comics. But it is much more straightforward.
It's also just a really well-constructed crime story, for sure. Yep. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and I really like the art and color use in this one as well.
Yep.
Lots of nice colors. And
really,
he has that cool retro vibe a little bit, but brutal scenes.
Yeah, really interesting use of almost really garish colors. Mm-hmm. And to me, that kind of feeds into giving it, both this kind of 1960s Marvel comics as well as kind of psychedelic kind of look, and it's just something vaguely untethered and off-putting about the world of the Bulletproof Coffin that I find really appealing.
Yeah, and I actually really like the opening scene where pretty much this naked man with a spoon that's digging through a tunnel to presumably get out of some kind of detention facility or prison or something like that, and he comes out of this the graveyard, and he's pretty much killed immediately. Yeah. So this character you just got to realize over the last 4 pages is just gone, and then it goes into the rest of the world. Yeah. But I like that opening scene. They have a lot of cool looking characters too, this guy kind of reminds me of Mickey a little bit.
Yeah, the superhero characters are cool. They're really well designed. Yeah. That's the coffin fly.
Yep. So, but yeah, and I'm assuming those are some other characters we're going to kind of see more of in the other issues then, if this is kind of an anthology almost.
Yeah, so that's cool.
Yeah, it's a great start to this new miniseries.
Yep, so it'll run 6 issues, and I'm looking forward to the rest.
All right.